Welcome to the HEARTS Entwined podcast. In this podcast, we'll be having discussions around the secrets which attract lasting, healthy, fulfilling relationships, creating a healthy mindset, and what women should know and understand about men. Introducing your host, Lyn Smith, the Queen of Hearts, relationship expert, trainer, speaker, and best-selling author of the Cupid's Bow technique. Lyn's mission is to have a positive impact in reducing divorce, domestic violence, and suicide.
Welcome to the HEARTS Entwined podcast. This is your host, Lyn Smith, the Queen of Hearts, and today I'm excited to tell you I've got a male guest. I don't very often have male guests, but today I've got Jeffrey Nuziard. You're a sexual health and wellness expert, and we're going to be, interestingly, talking about erectile dysfunction, because this is not a topic that's very often discussed, and I'm really curious to know what we can find out about this topic as we speak on this episode more clearly as we go through. So welcome, Jeffrey.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
For me, I'm interested to know what actually, I suppose, got you to where you are now, you know, being an expert in sexual health and wellness. So can you give us a bit of a background about you, first of all?
I can, because nothing speaks more than going through personal adversity. When I was 40 years old, it felt like it happened overnight, but it didn't. It felt like I woke up one day and my mind and my heart, my thought process, all was still sexual. I still wanted to be able to have sex. My body said, no, I quit. And I could not perform for anything. Didn't matter what we did, nothing worked. In my mind, I was like, this is unacceptable. I'm only 40. What the heck, you know? So I went to work, and I don't do pills. I don't do surgery. I don't like that kind of stuff. Never had a surgery. And I decided I was going to just start researching and developing. And I started reading everything I could get my hands on, bought a cadaver, I did as much research into the human anatomy as I could to find the root cause of erectile dysfunction and what makes that happen. Proud to say 15 years later, I had found the root cause of erectile dysfunction, and then developed the only globally patented cure for erectile dysfunction.
Wow.
There isn't another one out there.
That's amazing. So is there just one specific cause, or are there many causes that you know cause this as an issue for guys?
There are many causes, like, for example, could be an emotional problem, could be a relational problem. You just don't connect with your partner. Your partner just doesn't do it for you. You got a horrible relationship, whatever. It's a relational problem that can create erectile dysfunction. An emotional problem where you're having some emotional hiccups and your body's not responsive. When we get to the point of stimulation, body stimulation, our brain releases two chemicals, and those chemicals act as the stimuli to trigger your body into blood flow and becoming erect. For many, many years, Western medicine has taught and chased blood flow as the culprit and the cause of erectile dysfunction. When you're talking about physical erectile dysfunction, which is what I was talking about and which was happening with me, blood flow is not the cause of erectile dysfunction. I discovered that everybody says is, but it's not. Another facet of erectile dysfunction is quite easily fixed, and that's a porn addiction. There's a lot of young people today. I mean, think about it. We're all walking around with phones in our hands and an endless library of easy accessible pornography that anybody can access at any time.
Yeah.
And that overstimulates the brain. And what that does is it basically uses all that chemical up that our brain releases, but that's easily fixed. That's a 90-day fast of porn, no porn for 90 days, and your brain will reset and that chemical redevelop and you'll be fine. You just got to stop the porn. But
I suppose for some guys that might be a bit difficult if they're really addicted to it.
Right, they are, and you need to treat that addiction, because it's not reality. You're living in a false reality, and then when reality happens, it doesn't stimulate you. So I treat the physical cause of it, and we restore the physical tissue of the penis and the vagina, actually, because women go through both. Women go through the same thing men do. It's just women actually go through three or four other things besides erectile dysfunction. So I treat those physical causes and literally am able to restore and regenerate the tissue back to its original form and shape and function.
And what is there sort of various stages of physical limitations or whatever's going on within our bodies that causes that?
What causes erectile dysfunction? It all starts with our hormone levels. Somewhere in our 20s, we stop producing testosterone. Both men and women do. We stop producing testosterone by about 2% a year. That's the average. Some is more, some is less. Some happens later in life, some earlier in life, but on average, somewhere in our 20s. So it used to be that, a man in his 50s, say, started at 55, at 25, stopped producing testosterone by 2% a year. 30 years gone by, 60% of that man's testosterone production on average would be gone. That's the actual start of the process. Your hormones dropping below a certain level, which is unique to everybody, activates the aging process. It's not that we age and then lose testosterone. Losing testosterone activates the aging process. And that's what actually is the start of the whole thing. Then what happens is the first thing that your body shuts down is our production of collagen. Women notice it more than men because women are in the mirror every day putting makeup on and doing their hair, what have you, and they notice a line or a wrinkle or something they didn't have before. And that is a sign that your collagen is degenerating because we're not producing as much collagen. So men don't notice it because we don't care about that kind of stuff. So what happens inside the penis, you have two tubes called the corpus cavernosum, two sponges, and those sponges absorb the blood and then activate two muscles that lock in the blood. Well, those sponges are held together by collagen. So as the collagen is degenerating, those sponges aren't absorbing. Therefore, the muscles aren't activating to lock the blood in. So the first symptom that you're having erectile dysfunction is I can get erect, but I can't maintain it or keep the erection. So once I was able to discover that and figure that out, and again, reading white paper after white paper after white paper, and so many doctors and scientists were dancing around that drop in collagen, but nobody was addressing that and understanding that is the problem. I locked onto that because so many were talking about it, but nobody was doing anything about it. And that's when I started saying, okay, I think this is fixable. So developed a process. And then, by the way, the next step is your body overcompensates for injuries in your body. So when your body says, look, you're not absorbing all the blood we're sending in, the veins begin to develop atrophy and shrink up a little bit to send less blood in. And so then you get a 75% erection and a 50%, and it just snowballs downhill to eventually you're non-responsive and reactive to anything. So I developed a way for your body to regenerate those blood vessels. That's called angiogenesis. That's a medical phenomenon that it's your body creating new blood vessels. And then from there, to be able to regenerate new spongy tissue, and then from there, remodel and thicken the collagen up, taking you all the way back to the day, your prime, taking you all the way back to when everything was great.
And how long did that whole process take for you to sort of realize that, you had got a problem to start with, and then obviously doing a lot of research and looking into it to try and solve this as an issue for yourself, to actually then realizing something is starting to happen again for you?
Well, it was after I turned 40, during that year, it was getting really, really frustrating. Same thing that I just said. Started off with, I can get there and get in the moment, start having fun. Next thing, erection was gone. I couldn't maintain it all. And then it started getting worse to where I couldn't get a decent erection, and it just kept going downhill. That's when I was like, hey, this is a problem. And of course, I tried the Viagra and the Cialis, and all that works until it doesn't. I say that because those pills work. They dilate vascularity and send blood in. But the problem is, if the sponge is damaged and it's not absorbing, it doesn't matter how much blood you send in, it's not absorbing. So it took, once I got onto this track and started really figuring it out, it was a 15-year process to develop this whole thing. And I'm now 60 years old. I turned 60 last week, and I have so many, my kids and grandkids were in and for a big birthday party. And, well, how's it feel to be 60? I said, I don't know, because I feel better today than I did when I was 40. I have more energy. I feel more alive. Everything's working. Everything's great. I have no issues now, zero. I just am living life at 60. When at 40, I was tired and worn out and exhausted and felt like nothing was good. I had brain fog. I had sexual dysfunction, erectile dysfunction, the mess. So over the last 20 years now, we've developed the process. The patent was granted by the United States Patent Office. Then we filed for global patent, and that was granted. So we're very happy with it. We have a 97.2% success rate, by the way.
Well done, you. That's phenomenal. I really love it, what you're saying. And I think I probably speak for probably majority of my audience are women, but I do get some men on. But I would think that there are a lot of women that would be interested in this, because there'll be a lot of women in relationships with guys who are probably having this issue, and they don't know how to help them to sort it
Women,
out.
I will tell you, women go through the same thing. The problem is women don't talk about it. Women do what I call suffer in silence. What happens with a woman is they go through a couple different things. First of all, the same problem with collagen. The difference in a clitoris and a penis is one has a urethra and one doesn't. But the internal tissue of the two organs are the same. So they go through what's called clitoral atrophy, where the blood doesn't absorb there anymore. Therefore, the nerve endings start dying. Then what happens is they have zero satisfaction or sensation in the clitoris. Then from there, the vaginal canal begins to what's called vaginal relaxation syndrome. The vaginal canal begins to drop and it dries up. They get zero moisture, zero wetness. Now, all of a sudden, sex is very painful, and there's no satisfaction in it. So why do it? And then their mind gets engaged, and they're like, I don't even want it. And they are literally able. Women are so strong mentally; they're able to just literally shut that down. And that's sad, because it doesn't have to be that. I have patients in their 80s, married for 60 years, having sex 4 days a week.
May I ask you, what was your personal situation at the time? Are you in the same relationship you are now as what you were when you went through that?
I'm very sad to say that that's part of what caused my divorce from my kid's mother. We were married 17 years. And she ended up, quite honestly, having multiple affairs and got pregnant by another guy. And so it was a problem. And I have a great wife now. We have an amazing relationship. She's absolutely amazing. And I'm blessed. I'm very blessed. And we have an amazing sex life together, and everything's really, really good.
That's so great to hear, because I think, especially for a lot of young people, and I don't usually, I suppose, generally get a lot of very young men and women on my show. But, for those people that are of a certain younger age, they quite often look at, somebody in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s or whatever, and think, well, surely you've lost your libido by then, but you haven't, have you?
Oh, and that's so not the case. Scientifically, it's been proven by many, many psychologists and psychiatrists that the act of intimate sexual relationship is more important over the age of 50 than it is before the age of 50. The things that your body, the chemical releases and the changes your body goes through during intimate sex are so healthy for your mind and for your body. And there's several things that happen during sex. And so it's very important. It's a very important aspect of a relationship, and especially of a marriage. And at the age of 60s, it's extremely important to me and my wife, very important. And, it really blesses my heart when our oldest patient, 85 and 82, yeah, 85 and 82, um, they're married 60 years, hadn't had sex in 20 years because
Wow.
because they couldn't. And now they're having sex 4 days a week. And I listen to them talk and I watch them, and they're cute as heck. It's so funny to watch them because they act like 16-year-olds, but um, they're so happy and so excited that part of their relationship is back when it was gone for so long.
Wow. I love that. I really do. One of my grandparents, my grandmother on my father's side, she got remarried in her late 70s, 77, I think she was. And she was quite happy to talk about it, that she had a still healthy sex life at that age. And bless her cotton socks, she's passed now. But I do say it's possible for people to meet and get married and have a healthy sex life in your late
Absolutely.
senior years.
Absolutely. It's not only possible, it's part of life, and it's a very important part of life. It adds to longevity of life.
I met an old lady once who made me really laugh because she was somebody who I used to visit in an old people's home, and she was happy to talk about anything and everything, and some people just never got visitors, and I was just one of those people that just visited because people needed people that hadn't got any visitors to visit them. And I got such a huge amount of information from her, and she was such a good laugh. And one of the things that I always remember and I've never forgot is she says, "You know what?" She says, "There may be snow on the roof, but," she says, "there's still plenty of fire in the grate." And I thought, perhaps didn't really need to know that point in my life, but it did make me laugh. And I just thought to myself, yeah, I was a young woman at the time, and I was probably one of those young people that probably thought, well, surely you probably don't at your age. But yes, yeah, she did.
Yeah, that's great.
She thought about it at least, but even if she didn't have a partner, bless her.
It's so important. I can't stress enough how important it is. But through REGENmax, which is the name of the treatments, that is what the patent is under. We're able to reverse that in both men and women, and women actually respond faster than men do. They're very responsive to the treatment. Having said that, both men and women respond quite quickly, and we're able to see a difference in a couple of weeks, literally.
So is it the exact same treatment for men as it is for women?
Yeah, we do. Same treatments, obviously different apparatuses to do the treatments due to the anatomy, but it's the same treatments. We use a heat source. We use an acoustic source that it actually makes the body regenerate the new veins. We do hormone optimization, and we have a stem cell replacement injection that we do that makes all this happen quick. That's something else that happens as we age, is our stem cell production drops. And so our bodies don't recover as fast as they once did. When you're in your 20s, you could work hard, go out to the bar, go do whatever and recover and get back and do it again the next day. It didn't bother you because your body recovered quickly. As we age, that doesn't happen very often. So we do these treatments. It's like going to the gym. When you're lifting weights, you're tearing your muscles down, and your body regenerates at a cellular level new muscle tissue and makes those muscles better and bigger and stronger. Well, that's what we're doing with the penis and the vagina both, is we're creating internal damage, if you will. It sounds like it's bad, but it's not. There's no pain in any of these treatments, by the way. We're creating some internal, what are called micro tears to the tissue inside, and in your body with the stem cell replacement is working at the cellular level to replace that tissue and rebuild that tissue rather quick.
So were you the primary guinea pig for all this?
I was, and I will tell you that I'm glad that was of the past because I jokingly say often, I will not admit or deny that I may have burned myself several times, but trying to figure that out and what energy to use and how to make this happen um, was a long process, to say the least.
And good on you for sticking to it. You must have really had a strong self-belief that you could fix this problem and that you were onto something quite early on.
Well, adversity will push anybody to their limits, and that's what it was. It was literally, for me, was a matter of self-survival. I knew my mind and body were very sexual, and I got to make this work. This has to work.
I think, for yourself, 40, I would feel for a young man is a young age in my
Yeah,
mind to actually lose that ability. It must have been really devastating for you at the time.
extremely. People don't understand that, and the only people that can relate with me in that are people who are going through erectile dysfunction now. And so when patients come into the office and I sit down and talk with them, I'm able to really say, hey, listen, I get it, because I do. Emotionally, I was completely a wreck. I really felt like my man card I had to give up my man card. Like I'm not even a man anymore. It was horrible, absolutely horrible. So I get it.
And do you think there was a specific thing going on in your life prior to that happening that contributed to that?
Yeah, it goes back to, again, my testosterone levels dropped drastically. When I was 27 years old, my testosterone level, I know for a fact, was 1185, which is a very good level for a man. Men are supposed to be anywhere between 900 and 1200 is a good level for men. Everybody's different. So there's no one person's exactly the same, right?
Mm.
So, um, so I know I was 1185. It's a great level. I was very athletic, very competitive, never sat still. And at 40, I checked my testosterone and it had dropped to 305. So
Wow, that's a
it
big
dropped
drop.
a big drop very fast. Women their testosterone should be anywhere from 125, between 125 and 225. Somewhere in that range is healthy level for women's testosterone. And so yeah, it was devastating. When I'm sitting here going, what do you mean my testosterone's 305? I mean, it was a horrible feeling. I felt like I'm almost the testosterone level of a woman. What's going on? So I was
Sorry to
able to.
interrupt. I was just going to ask a quick question while it just jumped into my head. So is it the opposite for women? Is it something to do with progesterone or estrogen levels that might contribute, or is it again testosterone in women that contribute?
Well, it's definitely the testosterone, because testosterone is your driver. But for women, it's a balance of all three hormones. So unfortunately with men, we don't stop producing estrogen. And we stop producing testosterone. So when a man, that's why they feel lethargic and have brain fog, and this, for slang purposes, what men say, man boobs. And because what happens is their testosterone drops, but their estrogen's here, so they become estrogen dominant. Okay. That's a problem for a male's mental wiring diagram. With women, their testosterone drops, their estrogen still there until menopause, and then we got to adjust that anyway. But and their progesterone. So with women, it's not about a number level. Let me back up and say, when a woman is in their prime, their testosterone levels 125, 225, but their estrogen levels about 60, 70-ish in their progesterone level. So everything works together. It's more about when a woman gets postmenopausal, then we can say, okay, let's get you back to this range, the 125 to 225, your estrogen back to this range. And then they feel great again. But it's really before menopause, it's using whatever their hormone levels are. It's about getting them balanced. And what we find is we don't mess with their estrogen because their body's still producing a lot of estrogen. We run their testosterone up, and make sure that the progesterone, estrogen, and testosterone are all in the proper ratio of each other. It's not about chasing a number and getting them to a level. It's making sure that all three hormones are in the proper ratio together.
So there's a certain percentage that makes a good mix sort of thing for the cake to rise.
That's exactly a great way to put it. That's so true.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I was fortunate, I have to say, when I went through menopause, it didn't affect my libido at all, and I never really had any terrible symptoms. So I suppose I can count myself lucky in that regard that I didn't have to
You are
have.
blessed. You are.
Yeah. And I'm like you. I don't want to resort to taking tablets or having HRT or whatever.
You know, the great thing about HRT though is it exists, and without it, I could not get my levels back up to where they are.
Yeah.
And there's a healthy way to do HRT and a irresponsible way, I
Yeah.
should,
I'm
and
sure.
an unhealthy way to do HRT. So there's a right way and a wrong way to do everything, we can
Yeah,
say.
and for those listeners that don't know what HRT is, it's hormone replacement therapy. But I was, and I'm sure, like you say, there are responsible ways and irresponsible ways to use any sort of extra drugs or whatever you might need to help your physical and mental and emotional health. It's just that I suppose for me, probably to my detriment in some ways, I've always been a bit anti any sort of drugs. I have to be literally crawling on the floor, feeling almost dead before I'll even take a paracetamol. I'm one of those sort of people, very resistant. But then that's just me. I always, for the most part, like to trust that my body can heal itself. And I trust my immune system enough that in most cases it does. But there might be a case where I would need that external help, and I'm sure you're an advocate for those practices.
Yes, there are times where you got to use medications, but I'm a firm, the whole premise of REGENmax, I started my theory around our bodies are able to regenerate themselves.
Yes.
That's how we were designed. So in that design, what do we have to do for our body to regenerate the internal tissue of the penis and the vagina and to make all that work again? That was the whole quest, because I believe in regenerative medicine, so to speak. I am not a prescription kind of guy. I don't like it.
No, me neither. So that's why I was keen to have you on, actually, because I read that about you and I thought, oh, my kind of person, because I also believe we're able to regenerate, but obviously sometimes we might need some external help within
Sometimes
that.
there are, and you have to be careful because you make one drug to treat that's the problem. Prescriptions treat symptoms.
Yes.
They don't treat the root problem.
Yes.
And are times where you need a prescription, okay, fine, but let's treat the root problem. Like diabetes is a great example.
I agree.
We prescribe insulin, but that's just to lower blood sugar. What's the root cause of that? Where did your diabetes come from? Let's address that and fix that. So there are times where you need prescriptions. I would do that before I died, but the problem is you take one prescription and then that has some side effect, and then they give you another prescription and that has a side effect, and then you have to take another one to treat that side of it. Just becomes a rat race.
It does. I'm horrified sometimes when I look at my friends and my family members who have actually, cupboards full of prescription drugs. It horrifies me. It really does. And like you say, there's too much, I suppose, incentive for doctors to, prescribe drugs rather than suggest alterations to either your diet or exercise regime, or like you say, look at what is the root cause.
Yeah, that's right. That is and there is a way to fix your body. Your body's here's a proof of that. When you cut yourself, let's say I cut my hand, your skin doesn't glue back together. your body regenerates new epithelial cells to close the cut. So just something that simple. It's not some miraculous, our bodies glue back together. Our bodies are constantly regenerating. We lose our biggest organ in our body is our skin.
Yes.
And we lose a lot of skin every day, but yet we're not bleeding.
No, absolutely. You're my kind of guy, definitely, Jeffrey. So yeah, we're both on the same page regarding all this stuff. So for the benefit of the audience, what is the best way that they can connect with you if they're interested in finding out more about you and what you're doing?
We have two different websites. One is for my local clinic, which is Sexual Wellness Centers, but it's swcofUSA.com. But to learn more about the specific REGENmax is regenmax.com, REGENmax.com. And on that website, there's two different buttons to push. One is to be a patient, if you want to learn more about it from a patient's perspective, and the other is if you want to be a provider and get a license to perform REGENmax. And I say that because I can only help so many people in my office in Colleyville, Texas. I can only help so many people. And so because it's patent protected, we issue licenses to be able to perform the protocol of REGENmax, and that's for providers. So to learn more about becoming a provider, my desire is to get this in as many doctors' offices around the world as I can, and treat and help people live a better life and get your life back.
I think it's absolutely incredible what you're doing. I really, really admire you for your perseverance, your courage, and for sharing your own personal story as well around it all, Jeffrey. So any final words of wisdom before we wrap it up about erectile dysfunction?
You know, I just want to say that when you go through something hard in life, it can make you better or bitter. It can make you get up and go, or it can kill you. One of my favorite movies of all time, or favorite lines of a movie of all time, from the Shawshank Redemption is get busy living or get busy dying. And there's an opportunity in everything we do. So because of and that's why I'm not shy about my story. I tell my story all the time, and I'm not embarrassed to. I tell my story because number one, somebody else is going to identify with it. Number two, it created opportunity. And now through that adversity, opportunity was created that can help many, many, many people.
Excellent. Thank you. It's been a really, really inspiring conversation. And I really, as I say, admire you for all the work and incredible amount of time you've put into providing this and to help people. So thank you for that, Jeff.
Well, thank you for having me. And I hope somebody watching this or hearing this is hopefully to change their life. That's all I want to do.
I'm sure it will. And you're doing something phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal.
Thank you so much.
So with that, it just leaves me to say, true love starts with opening our hearts. And until next time, goodbye for now.
Thanks for listening to the Hearts Entwined podcast. You can follow Lyn via the Facebook group 2 Hearts Entwined, or search Lyn Smith, inspirational speaker, at LinkedIn, or email lyn@hearts-entwined.com. That's LYN@hearts-entwined.com. Remember, true love starts with opening our hearts.